Welcome back, YouTube. We are obviously back training after being in America. Obviously had 3 weeks where I've not really done any type of real training, so it feels nice to be back. Obviously for the first few sessions I'll just do like my first working set rather than doing all of my sets, just to get back into it. I'm just 2 days post getting back, so obviously still a little bit tired and stuff, so yeah, you're going to see my new pull session. The majority of my training is based around having more glutes still. Obviously my glutes are loads bigger and better, but they can be better. I believe that I just can have more density everywhere so that I can get leaner and still have a really great look. Even though my size doesn't need to get bigger, my density can still. It's hard to explain. Anyway, my first exercise is glute kickbacks. So I'm going to do them and then I might talk about them. You might be that lucky. See how far I get through the session without going quiet. So first exercise is the glute kickback here. There's a few different ways that you can do a glute kickback. You can do a press through, you can do a glute knee kickback, you can do a kickback. I'm just doing a standard kickback. So I position my chest in a way that I can kick my foot back, not arch my lower back, so I can keep all my tension into my glute. That level of kind of tilt, could we say, with the chest is probably going to be very different for everyone. For me, that's as low as I need to have it for it to feel and look and use my glute as effectively as it needs to. I keep my foot slightly turned out. I keep a slight little soft bend in my knee, and I make sure that as I drive my leg back that I don't let my hips twist or curl. Everything stays locked tight, literally just my leg, and my glute is literally stretching and then squeezing. So, second exercise is hip thrusts with a barbell. On this, I'm aiming to have a 2-second pause at the bottom. I'm aiming to get full depth, so it's a hip thrust, not a glute bridge. And I'm keeping my toes slightly turned out because it allows me to get a little bit more hip extension at the top, which allows me to get a bit more squeeze in my glutes. So that was that. Right, next exercise is the hip banded RDL. That doesn't mean the band around your legs, because that's actually quite bad for your knees and hips if you use the little bands around the legs, especially for hip thrusts and glute bridge. So don't do that. But this is like doing a banded leg press because it makes it harder at the top where normally there's not a lot of resistance. So normally when I'm here on an RDL, there's not a lot of resistance. There's the pulling of the weights on your arms, but nothing here, which is where you're trying to target, or where I'm trying to target. So that's why the band is added, just to make it a little bit more challenging. Obviously I'm quite strong at dumbbell RDL, so creating a new challenge is quite exciting, because if I can get as strong as what I was before with the hip, with the band, be pretty decent, and then hopefully we'll have more glutes. Right, next exercise, glute focus leg press. I am getting full range of motion for my glute because my knees coming to around a 90-degree angle, but my shins staying vertical to the pad. Before I start every rep, I think about getting a little bit of tension, so squeezing my glute, aiming to keep that on the whole time that I do each and every single rep. Unfortunately, on a leg press, anything really leg focused, you can't take your quads away. They will still work a little bit, but this is more biased towards my glute than my quads. I've obviously got a 2-second pause, hopefully you can tell, at the bottom of every rep. So just again, to give that extra little bit of a challenge. The next exercise is the first of my back movements, which is a cable pull down. I love a cable pull down. So here with this one, I'm trying to think about keeping my chest neutral, tummy locked tight, wrists slightly supinated, literally just focusing on full extension, but not elevation with the shoulder, and then driving the elbow down into my hip for full lat tension.
J'en ai pas là, ouais, c'est vrai. Non, il a pas ça.
Okay, right. So, second to last exercise is another upper back movement. Obviously just done an upper back movement. This one is of the pull down variety. So I'm going to use a pin bar where I can obviously decipher how wide it is. So I want my hands just a little bit wider than shoulder width. I'm going to keep my chest extended up a little bit, but my back won't be arched, it will still be neutral. I'm then going to allow my shoulders to fully protract, fully retract, to allow my upper back to work more than my lats. Again, like I said on the leg press, where we can't turn off the quads on a glute circus leg press, it's the same on a upper back pull down. Your lats will still work, but you will use more of your upper back if you do it set up for an upper back pull down compared to your lats, but your lats will still work. I hope I've not just made that not make sense. Last exercise is the Cybex row. Obviously I'm doing it for lats. Well, hopefully you can tell I'm doing it for my lats. I actually have to shuffle my hip over quite far on this machine because the arm of the machine drives out. Obviously when you do anything lat focus, you do want your elbow to come into your body, not away from the body. Otherwise you are going to limit your lat tension. That's why I put my hips over to the side a little bit, to be able to drive my elbow nicely into my hip, to be able to really get a lot of tension into my lat. that is the end of my pull day. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Before, so when I was in off season, a lot of my pull sessions were very back based. I obviously don't have a weak back anymore from being on stage with other competitors. Obviously the level of the Olympia is going to be very different. There is going to be bigger girls, so the density is needed. But the majority of my session, obviously here on pull, is now focused mostly around glutes and then back. Just because obviously, I say obviously too often, I need to stop saying it. Because when you do a push session, for example, you'll do a shoulder focus one and a chest focus one, and you'll start with whatever it is that your focus is on. Otherwise, as you get obviously towards the end, said it again, as you get to the end of your session, you do get a little bit less fiery, so the focus would remain mostly of what you've got at the start. Every single one of my pull sessions, the focus is on the glutes. That's why it's always at the start. But a lot of them are leg movements that I obviously use a little bit of quads in as well. And I could do with a little bit more leg IMO if I'm going to stand next to these other girls, because for me to get leaner, I do need more mass. It's why you really do have to listen to the judges' feedback, but you have to take it with a pinch of salt as to what it means, because I've been told I need no more size, and I don't need to look bigger. But for me to get more condition, which is at 1% apparently, more condition is what I need for the Olympia based off two judges' feedback. I do need more density. Can that happen in 12 weeks before I start dieting again? I'll try my hardest. But yeah, anyway, that's pull. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be doing more throughout my off-season / prep for the Olympia.